everybody. Welcome to another edition of Box Seats. I'm your host, Frank Holder, and this is the show where we talk about sports with comedians. And every day I forget to shave, but that's one of those days. I be forgetting, but you know what? Let me bring in my man T, who always got the fresh cut and everything else. T, what's going on, man? How you doing, sir? How's Martha's Vineyard treating you?
I'm reporting live from Martha's Vineyard. It's fantastic. Week number 3 of the Martha Vineyards Comedy Festival with Damon Williams. Stone Cold Blast, brother. Coco is tearing it up. Chris Spence is tearing it up. I'm having a good time. Damon, of course, superb host. Coming in live and direct.
Y'all having a comedy show every day? Y'all doing a comedy show every day?
Yeah, we work every day. What they do is they started off Monday through Thursday. Every night there's a comedy show. Then they switch the lineup. Feature opener, headliner. Do the same thing. Now, my particular week is like a big week for the film festivals here as well. The Black Film Festival. So Barack's in town. All the big wigs. Morris Chestnut came to our show, the first show. Your boy Ray Allen was there last night. With his wife. We're having a good time, man. So and I get an extra day. We just added 2 shows this week. 2 matinees on Thursday and Friday. And then I got to do a Saturday show with Sherry Shepherd.
Wow. Now I find out why I can't get there. Oh, actually, I can't get a thing to get back. So that's it. My man Fig is in the building too. Fig, what's happening? How you doing, sir?
Hey, man, I can't call it. It's a good day, always, wearing my Nick Orange.
Yeah, I appreciate you even joining the show. I appreciate Amir Sealy joining the show, too, for sitting in for a couple of the guys. Thank you for doing this. I appreciate you, Amir. I appreciate you. And it looked like Rodney Perry decided to join the show also. Rodney Perry in the building, too, y'all. How you doing, Rodney Perry?
What's up, Frank Holder?
All right, so we got a lot of stuff I want to cover today, man. I want to jump into this thing first. So I'm gonna get into the show, and I'm gonna get into some of my hypotheticals that Rodney Perry calls me my what do you call it? My Pelican brief.
Pelican briefs.
Yeah, I'm doing some.
This ain't no Pelican brief, but
yeah. I got a couple I'm gonna jump into. But first, let's get into the news stories and everything else. First things first, man. Is
can I throw something out before you get into that?
Huh?
Go ahead. Can I throw something out before you get into that?
Yeah.
I hate these little random questions about the past.
Well, you don't have to join the show, bro. You ain't got to. You ain't got to answer.
I didn't say I want to get fired. Goddamn, man. I'm just giving my opinion. I don't know players like that. So you got me looking at the fucking 4 people that used to do dribble 5 times to get down court. I don't know who that is.
Okay. You know what it's called? It's called doing your homework. That's what it's called. Doing your homework.
I'm not gonna do it.
Oh, okay. So now let's get back to the show. Of not doing your homework. Let's first jump into it. My man T, I'm gonna throw it out there with you, and I'm gonna get it out to you first. So here it is, T. Shohei Ohtani has officially joined Babe Ruth as the only player in Major League history to have at least 10 home runs and 10 wins as a pitcher in the same season. According to the Angels, 2 players from the Negro Leagues also did it. Bullet Reagan from the 1922 Kansas City Monarchs and Ed Riles, 1927 Detroit Stars. So, T, should old Shohei Ohtani go down in the Hall of Fame as one of the best players to ever play this game? What's your take?
He would have to go down. He would have to go down as one of the best Negroes to ever play this game. Apparently, 2 Negroes did it prior.
Oh my God.
I think we got to wait to see. First of all, here's what we know is going to happen with this guy, Frank. It's going to be a lot of first times. You know why? Because that he plays both sides, that he is the pitcher and he is a hitter. So anything he does, numbers-wise, is going to be, oh, my God, it's the first guy to ever. So we got to get used to that. He's already a phenom in his own right, so I think it's only right. So we will get to that point, though, what you're talking about, going back to history. We will be getting closer to that question.
Right. And Fig, I guess the question I want to ask you, because you Fig X on the panel and everything else, even though he will be go down and matching with the Negroes, the so-called Negro League and everything else, man. How do you think the Asian community is going to accept this right now? Because he's still very, very young. He's only 5 years in his career.
Well, it's a first for the Asian community. Like, you know, if we flip it around, we can say the first black man to make a dope plate of shrimp fried rice.
You're right.
That'd be good for us because he'd be the first man to do it. You know, when you talk about the Asians, hey, the first dude to have somebody like Shohei Ohtani be a hell of a pitcher and then be able to hit the ball at the same time. Like you said, the Negro Leagues, we've been doing it, but unfortunately, the history books don't count us. We were never recognized as being a part of this great country that we call America. We were always excluded. So, you know, we never given just due and just credit for doing some of the things first.
Right. Amir, give me your 2 cents on that.
Well, you know what? I mean, like anything and everything, I think Talon hit the nail on the head because he's right now the guy for that specific ethnicity is going to look like for optics reasons. And you got to remember, we live in a country and in a world now where everything is about optics. It's not always just about what is actually being accomplished. The Major League Baseball has been taking hits left and right because it's not something that everybody's totally sold on. So they're trying to do anything and everything that they can to keep their, you know, sport in the limelight and to keep people, you know, paying attention. So, you know, like I said, this is a wait and see situation. Let's see another 5 years from now, if he's still as excited about, you know, what he's accomplishing as far as, you know, his accomplishments to this point. So wait and see.
Well, Rodney Perry, the Asian community has got to be doing cartwheels for Shohei Ohtani. They got to be. You know what I mean? So is this going to generate a lot more money from for Major League Baseball from Major League Baseball from the Asian community, in your opinion?
I mean, that's a great question, man. I mean, absolutely. But, you know, I mean, the Asians have their own league. That's a pretty stellar league. You know, we have players go over there and play, but the world, you know, baseball in America is still tops. So this would have to be a big deal for anybody. Will this guy go down in history? He should, barring injury. He should go down in history. You know, because he's playing this great at the outset of his career. So I think you could probably look for many, many more years of great baseball from this guy.
I think so too. With that being said, Michael Sean, my question for you is: will the Asian community try to lure him back to Japan? Because right now, he is the only Asian player to ever tie Babe Ruth. So it would be a coup, in my opinion, if they tried to bring him back to Japan to be able to get him and pay him whatever amount of money he wants. You know what I mean? If it's $500 million, $600 million, pay him. You know, but the amount of notoriety he could bring to the Asian community could be phenomenal. What's your take?
No, because the Yankees will pay more than an entire country. So, like, there's no way he's not gonna leave. His agency is not gonna let him allow him to leave baseball,
right,
and go back to where we came from. Like, sorry, that sounded bad, but what I'm saying is, like, the Yankees are gonna pay him like $600 million. The Dodgers are gonna pay him like $600 million. It's gonna be outrageous. He's not gonna go back until he's done and washed up. Then he'll go back to his country, and I'm not mad at him at all. Like,
right,
the money's gonna be so crazy that there's no way that his agent or agency, like I said, is gonna allow him to leave.
Right. All right, so let's jump into I got another question for you guys. Let's jump into this next one, man. We all know about the Kobe Bryant situation. We all know about Vanessa Bryant being upset with them. But I'm not sure anybody even realized in this panel that the trial is about to begin. I know I did until I read the news last night. But the trial is about to begin on the Kobe Bryant helicopter crash photos. Vanessa claims the deputies did not take the photos to investigate, for investigative purposes, and they shared them with firefighters who responded to January 26th. Now, here's the situation. He's saying in a lawsuit that several deputies showed the photos to bar patrons and that a firefighter showed them off to off-duty colleagues. She's seeking unspecified millions in compensation. Now, we all know how bad, obviously, the Kobe Bryant, photos were and how bad the situation was. What do you think is going to be the settlement is going to happen because if she's already got proof of that, they already going to have to settle for millions of dollars. Millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. What do you think is going to be settlement? Is going to be for them to be able to walk away and Vanessa Bryant to be okay with this? What do you think the number's going to be, T?
Well, any number's too high to me. Like this case is weird. When you get these cases where these monetary things come up to people that it's not going to mean nothing to you. It can't mean nothing to you. You're a great family. You're a blessed family, well off in that area. To me, I would want this thing to be gone so fast because it reminds me of the death of my loved one. But I think it's weird. I think in this weird place of a country, this is upward $10 million plus.
Right. But Fig, I will say this. In my opinion, I don't know. In my opinion, I think it's about the principle. I don't even think it's about the money. I think it's about the principle to show them a lesson. But I could be wrong. What's your take?
I think you're right, man. I understand what Town is saying, but on one side it's about principle, and the other side, it's for some people it's about the money. This one, I believe, is for her. It's really about the principle. And then, Kobe Bryant was a public figure, but Gianna wasn't. And that's something that we need to take into consideration. I mean, that's out of the protocol of everything that you could possibly think of as far as police work, to take pictures of an accident scene and share it with the general public. You're out of bounds, you're out of line, and the people that hurt the most are the people who suffered the greatest loss. And It's not just about her. It's the other families also.
Right.
So I think it's going to be a nominal amount of money.
With that being said, Amir, do you think the other families sitting up there are going to benefit from this lawsuit that Vanessa Bryant is filing or not? You know what I mean? Because I don't even know if they're part of this lawsuit that Vanessa Bryant's filed. What you think? Amir, you're on mute, Amir.
It's so funny. I hadn't even thought about the part of Gianna not being a public figure until Fig just brought that up. But just to show you how odd, in the world can be, Kobe Bryant, yes, one of the greatest basketball players the game has ever seen. Y'all all know that. My brother was killed in an automobile accident in 2000. The footage of it and the pictures of it were on ESPN the next morning, like 8 in the morning, something like that. Wow. I only bring that into the conversation because sometimes we forget that it doesn't make a difference about the level of play or who the people are. The families are hurting. So we have to, immediately think about that. The lawsuit and the ability to tell somebody what they can and cannot do, that's a tough space to be in, because in the moment, the emotions are running high, not only from all of the people who are there, and then for the people who are affiliated with that moment. The firefighters, the other people who were there, should they have taken pictures and shared it with people? Obviously not. But the emotion of the moment and the thought in the moment is always different sometime after the emotion is taken out of it. And I think when this thing is all said and done, that's what people are going to have to really sit and wrestle with. And like I said, I'm saying that to you because I didn't think about it until Fig just brought that up, because now I'm thinking about how the next morning, ESPN, I literally saw my brother's truck mangled up, so forth and so on. I don't get emotional about a lot of stuff, but to this point, it still makes me emotional because of what that, turned into and how that really turned out. So I guess that, when you really think about it, yes, I think the other families do deserve to hopefully, receive some compensation. But the reality of it all is you're talking about people dealing with the loss of a loved one. And there's no amount of money that can compensate you for that.
Rodney Perry, was it done because it was a rush to get the news story out? Do you think those firefighters were rushing to get it to share out to TMZ? Because for people out there who are sitting home watching, TMZ pays people, as TMZ doesn't have reporters everywhere. People send them their photos and ask to get paid for that. That's how that whole system works. You know what I mean? Could it have been like the firefighters, those guys were spreading the word out because they had exclusive photos that nobody saw?
I mean, there's a lot of different ways to look at this. My buddy is a firefighter, and we have to assume they were doing their jobs, right? I haven't seen. I mean, are the images at large? All these images?
Yeah, there are a lot of them out there. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't go out my way to see them. Out of respect for the family, I didn't want to see them. But I mean, it was a pretty horrific accident, and not a lot of remains and stuff left. But I mean, I would imagine they were doing their job at the outset. But then to sell the pictures, if they did, is a heinous crime in my book. And so if they did that, then so be it. But let the law move like it should move. But should they be penalized if they did anything other than their jobs? Yes.
All right. Well, Michael Sean, I'm gonna throw this out there. I think that the photos that TMZ got, that ultimately they ended up bringing, they got them from somebody who was first on the scene. It had to be either the medics, it had to be the fire, it had to be one of those guys, because that's the photos they got, nobody else could see. So that's number one. And number two, my question for you is, and final question is Vanessa Bryant trying to set a precedent with this lawsuit, in your opinion, to say, and even though the other families I don't think are part of the lawsuit, you think she's trying to set a precedent with this?
The only thing I'm going to say is that because we're doing the box seats, we all have to have an opinion on everything. The only person that should speak on this is Amir.
Right.
The only person that understands when a family has to see something on TV or ESPN is Amir. The rest of us have never experienced losing somebody that they love and it being publicized and used for, okay, it's not Instagram, but ESPN is just like Instagram. It's just like everything else. It's likes, it's views, it's ratings. So for me, the only person whose opinion that counts right now is Amir, because he's gone through this.
Right.
The rest of us are just bystanders who have never had to deal with losing someone they love and then it being put on TV and being used for ratings, because that's what it is. Because when I lost my best friend, it didn't get put on ESPN. When Amir lost his brother, it got put on there because they knew they were going to get ratings. So I will fall back and get off my soapbox, and I will say, I don't know what it's like to lose somebody that they love, and then it has to be put on TV every day.
All right, so we're going to change the mood. We're going to get ready to move on, move forward, and everything else. Let me throw this thing out to T. I gave all y'all some homework real fast. And Rodney Perry was against it, obviously, because I could tell from the question he asked. He had to be the smart ass of the group. All right, so here was my question to you guys. And I hope you did this, T. Name your Mount Rushmore of your 4 worst calls in any sport. Now we've seen some sports where there've been some horrible calls that we go like, that has got to be one of the most horrendous calls I've ever seen. I didn't say the NBA. I'm not saying the NFL. I'm just saying you give me your Mount Rushmore of 4 worst calls that that stand out. And you just like, you know what? This I can't even do it. So T, you go first. And I'm gonna Rodney Perry.
I would give. I definitely throw up in there my Knicks highlight of Charles Smith with the putback, the 5-time putback. Not one chipper call. We needed that. We didn't get that. Number 2 would have to be Bruce Seldon throwing that fight against Tyson with the phantom punch. When they went back and looked at the punch, he didn't even touch him.
Oh my God!
Just went down and took the knockout.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
That was horrendous. It definitely got to go with the call, or should I say no call? You got to get the no call on Jordan when he won the chip on Russell. With the little
push off.
Yeah, that was no call.
He grabbed his ass. He grabbed his ass. He grabbed his ass and threw him.
Yeah, go ahead, T. Go ahead. You got one more.
Go ahead. That was no call. Okay. And I think the Mount Rushmore call was the one. I don't know if y'all remember the 4-point play with LJ.
Yes, sir.
The N one with the 4-point play. horrible and beautiful at the same.
All right, see, that's talent's 4. Talent got his 4. Talent got his 4. My man Fig, I know you got 4. I know you got.
Yeah,
4. So give
Yo,
me a Mount Rushmore of your
the first thing I
4
gotta
worst
say,
players.
Talent's 4 was amazing. And me being one of the biggest Knicks fan, I'm surprised that I didn't remember those. You know what I mean? Those.
Oh, you remember them. You just don't want to say them. You remember them. You just don't want to say them.
Because
there's another one. There's another one. There's another one.
Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead, Fig.
One of the most famous ones, we got a rule out of it, the tuck rule between the Raiders and the Patriots. We got to add that one, man. There was the Rams, the one where the Rams played the Saints. And Drew Brees threw the ball, and the dude knocked the dude out of bounds before the ball even got anywhere near him, and they didn't call a pass interference. That was the most egregious call that I have ever seen personally in the most recent years. That was amazing.
Yeah, and they were going to go to the Super Bowl if they got that.
Yeah, man.
No, it was in the Super Bowl. It was in the Super Bowl.
It was great.
No, it was the NFC Championship. Go ahead.
It was the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But that was crazy.
Right. My bad.
Now I'm taking a page out of Mike Sean's book. Pernell Whitaker against Chavez. Man, they called that a draw. Chavez couldn't even hit Sweet Pea, man. It was crazy, man. That was like a robbery of epic proportions, man. I think that was a PR job.
No,
and last but not least, I went way back in time, man, to get this undefeated champion a loss when Money Mayweather was in the Olympics. He beat the crap out of that Russian, and they gave it to the Russian dude, man. That was a robbery, man, and that was like a big robbery. I think it was 1996 Olympics that Floyd Mayweather participated in. He won a gold medal, and they took it from him.
I like these 8 that we got so far. We got 8. Talent got 4. Floyd got 4. I like them so far. Amir, you ready, or Rodney Perry, you ready, or do I got to go to Amir? Okay.
Rodney's shaking his head. He ain't ready.
He ain't ready. All right. My man Amir, hit me with your 4 greatest worst calls of any sport.
Okay, so we got 88. Roy Jones losing the gold medal to Park Si-hoon. I don't know if y'all remember that.
Yes.
He had gone undefeated up until that fight, and they robbed him for the gold medal in that particular year in the Olympics. Next up, we got Game 6, Sacramento Kings versus the Lakers. And they killed the Sacramento Kings. They beat the Sacramento Kings up so bad that game, and they got no calls. And everybody acts like they don't remember it, but I remember because I was a big Bibby and Chris Webber fan. So we're going to put that to the side. What do we got? Okay, then we have this one, which happened a couple of years ago. The infamous KD save when he stepped out of bounds, not once, not twice, possibly 3 times in the I don't know if it was the finals. No, it was the championship round just before the finals against Houston, where he threw the ball back in and the Golden State Warriors made a three-pointer. I don't know if y'all remember that play, but he literally ran the baseline, stepped out 3 times, then hit the ball back inside for 3 against the Houston Rockets. And everybody acted like they didn't see him step out of bounds. I was like, come on, guys. But
that wasn't a call. Amir, that wasn't a call. But all right, I'll give you that one. I'll let you slide.
But I'm saying it was a
non-call. It was a non-call. It was a non-call.
Yeah.
And then we have the Toronto Raptors playing against the Sacramento Kings. I don't know if it was a playoff game or whatever, but Kyle Lowry pulled up for a 3 late in that game. And his legs, he didn't kick out at all. He just went up and his legs, kind of drifted in front of him. And they called an offensive foul on him, followed by a technical foul for getting up and down there running to the locker room. And I was like, come on, son. Like, so those are my 4.
Those are your 4. Okay, Rodney Perry, you ready for your 4, or do I got to go to Mike?
Go to Mike, man.
Michael Stein, give me your 4 worst calls in any sport. Your Mount Rushmore worst call.
All right, one of the worst calls was when Miami and the Knicks got into it, and we got into a fight, and somebody came off the bench, and they suspended everybody. The water boy, they suspended baby moms, they suspended everybody.
They suspended the owner.
The owner got suspended. Everybody who was a Pisces got suspended. Everybody got suspended. And they said 2 of y'all Geminis can play for the next game, and 2 of y'all Sagittarius can play for the next game. And I was like, okay. Another worst call. I was trying to think of them because y'all took most of mine. The worst call outside the box was that Forrest Gump beat Do the Right Thing for Movie of the Year in the Oscars. Like Forrest Gump beat Do the Right Thing.
Oh my God!
That's
Like
a great one, Mike.
one of the most incredible movies that has ever set the platform, has ever described what New York City was like, got beat by somebody who just was Forrest Gump. And that's the only 2 I got.
Hey, Mike.
Those are great, though.
Sports is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get.
You never know what you're gonna get. But the lie on Forrest Gump was you never know what you're gonna get. You're gonna get robbed. And Spike Lee should have won an Oscar for Do the Right Thing. Like Spike Lee, everybody on these squares knows that is one of the greatest movies that was ever made. And
that's a great one, though, Mike. That's a great one.
Go ahead, Rodney.
And this is a bit of a stretch.
Here we go. Sit back.
Rod Kidwell, he busted a handstand in the end zone, and it was clearly a delay of game, and nobody ever called it. And
And Jerry Maguire. Okay, go ahead.
Rod Tidwell. Just call his name. Rod Tidwell did his thing, and also that was the movie with one of the Wayans, which somebody got shot on the field, and it was never addressed, never blew a whistle, and I'm sure that's a foul. Find the name of that film. That is Damon
I have no
Wayans.
idea what you're talking about. There's like 12,000 Waynes. Like I don't even know what.
Damon Wayans. The dude gets shot at the beginning of the film on the football field, and
with Adam Sandler. That's that movie with Adam
Sandler. Yeah.
And most recently, there's a movie out right now, which is called The Tomorrow Boy. And during a soccer match, the aliens take over the planet Earth, and no whistle, no flags. I mean, like, really? I mean,
hold up.
The man said they take over the world.
Got one more, Roddy Bird. You got one more.
Oh, that's right.
He ain't got no more. Yo, I got another one. Go ahead, Rodney. Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
And finally, early today, when I told Frank how I felt about these segments, he gonna fire me, and nobody blew a whistle.
Rodney, I can't believe you. You mean to tell me the biggest LeBron James fan on the set, and you didn't come up with Space Jam 2? Come on, man.
First of all, Space Jam is a masterpiece, and it's better than the first Space Jam.
Yo, you know what the funny thing about the Space Jam thing is? Michael Jordan sucked at the first one, and pause on this, and LeBron sucked more at the second one. But we all gave Michael Jordan like credit because we were like, well, you know, he's just a basketball player. And I was like, LeBron's just a basketball player too. Like, they both suck. They were both horrible.
LeBron is clearly the better actor though. He's got a lot of different credit.
All right, let's keep
Hey
the show
yo,
rolling.
no disrespect to talent. No disrespect to talent. Talent won an Oscar on Sunset Park compared to fucking sorry. LeBron and Michael Jordan.
I will say that, and
LeBron had a like talent had,
because talent was amazing and something.
no, talent had a serious part with a white lady that he would never have sex with, and that's hard for talent. Pause. Like he had when the coach was on the bench.
Hold on, Mike Sean. We do not know if they didn't have sex. We don't know.
No, he wouldn't.
How you know?
Wait. I don't think he wouldn't.
You don't know that. You don't know that. That's all I'm saying.
Talent would never have sex with somebody that Danny DeVito has sex with.
Good point.
Hey, stop.
I don't know about that.
No,
That's
that's
Rhea Perlman was holding. Stop
What
it.
if what if I said something? What if I short? What if I said something and start shrinking and get shorter? You don't know. So,
All right, so T,
good point, Mike. Good point.
let's keep this thing rolling. Let's keep it rolling. T, I'm gonna ask you this, man. What
Hold on,
championship?
real quick, Frank, real quick. Because talent would never do that because he knew somebody at the Boston Comedy Club would snap on him if he had sex with a chick that was dating somebody from Taxi. Now that's an old reference. But go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you. T, I'm gonna ask you this.
Sorry, Frank.
It's
Sorry.
Okay. It's okay. Which
And still, he's not fired.
which championship would go down as the asterisk more? The Lakers championship in the bubble? I mean the Lakers championship or the Bucks championship? Which one is the most asterisk one? So the question would be, which COVID championship will go down more with the asterisk? The Lakers one or the Bucks one? Which one would you say?
Or if you had
Neither
sex with
Well,
somebody who was from
obviously, it's the
Taxi.
bubble. It would have to be the bubble because extreme circumstances change everything. So the fact that people will use that as an excuse, that'll be more prone for people to go towards that direction of excuse, like, oh, well, I didn't do this, I didn't get to go home, a family, this, and they'll pull at every angle with the bubble. So I would say the bubble.
Okay, all right. So Fig, do you think the Lakers or the Bucks one is going to be sitting up there saying, I don't really count the Bucks, or I don't really count the Lakers championship? Which one you got? Which one you don't
Are
really
you
count?
talking about the last Bucks with Giannis?
No, the Bucks, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who won the Super Bowl.
I thought he was talking about Giannis too.
Like I didn't know what you was talking about. Oh,
Frank got irritated.
No, I didn't know what he was talking about. I would say probably the Lakers championship in the bubble because there was no traveling, there was no fans. I believe it or not, home court advantage or having to play on another team's court, the role players play better and it gives an advantage to the other team. So because of that dynamic, they'll probably say it was the one that was in the bubble with the Lakers.
Okay, so Amir, you're in the barbershop, you hear people talking, and they talking about literally between the going back and forth. Amir, you're on mute. They going back and forth. Which one you think a lot of the majority of the country is going to be saying, you know what, that one really don't count? You think they're saying the Lakers championship don't count, or they saying the Tampa Bay Buccaneers championship don't count? Which one do you think?
They're going to say the Lakers, but I'm going to say the Tampa Bay Buccaneers one. Most people will say the Lakers, but I'm going to say the Tampa Bay Buccaneers one because, like I said, I just couldn't possibly see this man playing that horrible in the championship game. I'm not saying that they didn't have great defense. I'm not saying that there weren't other things that were factors in that game. But for me personally, I just didn't see it the same way mostly everybody else saw it. So for me, I'd say the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but I know the rest of the world is going to say it's the Lakers in the bubble when they talk about it.
Yeah, because honestly, Patrick Mahomes played one of his worst games I've ever seen play. Rodney Perry, I know you're a Lakers fan, but are you going to say the Lakers or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Which one do you think was I don't really count that one.
I'm like, Fig, I thought you were talking about the Milwaukee Bucks shit.
I did too.
Okay.
I mean, a COVID year is a tough year for everybody. No fans in Tampa Bay. It's Tom Brady though. A Tom Brady-led team is never going to be a team that people are going to demonize. It's just like that. It's just a fact. So, given that, then I think people will question the Lakers win in the bubble, but I think the bubble posed different challenges that they met, and everybody was in the bubble too.
Okay.
So, you got the ass beat. You got the ass beat in the bubble.
All right, Michael Sean, do you think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or the Los Angeles Lakers, which one's going to have the biggest asterisk on their thing, on their record?
None. Nobody has an asterisk. When you win a championship 15 years from now, nobody says there's none. You played the best teams in both situations in different situations. None. Like Mike Tyson lost to Buster Douglas. Guess what? He still lost. They were like, he didn't train. Guess what? He still lost. He still lost. You still got knocked out.
Right.
Like none of these have asterisks next to them. It kills me when people try and put asterisks next to championships, because 15 years from now, how about this? Detroit Pistons beat the Lakers with Magic Johnson pulling a hamstring, James Worthy hurt, and nobody talks about that.
Right.
Nobody ever brings up the fact that the Lakers were broken at that point.
Right.
Still, nobody brings up the fact that the other championship Detroit won, that they got robbed by the refs, and I'm a Laker fan. They got robbed by the refs on the BS call against Kareem and Bill Laimbeer. Nobody cares.
Mike.
As long as time goes by, people go, "You won a champ." Nobody claims LeBron lost because Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving were hurt.
Okay. All right.
But Mike, you know there was no grits in the bubble.
There were no grits.
There was no grit.
And there was no kush. There was nothing.
And no flag. No flags on that either.
Yeah, there was
talent.
nothing.
The New Orleans Pelicans now have jumped in for a deal for Kevin Durant per the Sports Illustrated. They say that they can put together a compelling package around all stuff with Brandon Ingram, Herbert Jones, Devontae Graham, and Jose Alvarado, and draft compensation. Do you think the pressure that KD is putting on them is going to force his way out to them, the New Orleans Pelicans? Because now, as of this morning, KD's value has even dropped more. You know, what you think?
Well, I think, first of all, just to go back to what they were talking about, there was a lot of things missing out the bubble, but they had masseuses. I'll tell you that.
They had no quarterbacks.
I don't think, Frank, I think the forcing thing is, I think we didn't pass that part. I think forcing only works the first week. You can keep using that word. If I don't give in a week, your force ain't working. You got to change the phrase and everything now. So the forcing part, I think, we're past. I think now he's in the offices with a different tone. I think Kevin's like, can I please go to the Pelicans? They want me at the Pelicans, please. Like, you can't force nothing at this point. Hell no. I don't think he's going over there. I think the quietness is them working out, him staying his ass right with you.
All right, okay. Fig, question for you. Julius Randle, Jalen Brunson, Obi Toppin teamed up in the Pro-Am game, and they lost in the Pro-Am game the other day, 13 points, but nobody on the other side was pro players. Should there be some concern by some of these guys at this game, or are we underestimating the Pro-Am players?
I'm gonna go to one of the most famous NBA players of all times. It was basically practice. Practice. We're talking about practice. That's all they were doing, Frank. They were practicing. They was just, getting a little exercise. It wasn't no game. They were just playing. Nothing to worry about here.
Okay. Amir, you heard that. Nothing to worry about. But is there going to be concern from any NBA teams? Are they going to overevaluate some of these Pro-Am games that's being played, and looking at some of the way the NBA players handle themselves in these Pro-Am games at all? What's your thoughts?
No. Again, one of the cool things about catching this question, or at least this part of the question, I've seen certain NBA players get handled in Harlem, in not only the Rucker, but in offshoot spots because, you know, you got to think about it. You, as a pro player, you're going out into other people's territory. Those guys will never make the pros. So their only moment is that moment. So they're going to come and bring their A game each and every time. Now, as a pro player, obviously you never want to be caught slipping, but like anything and everything that we know, sometimes cats are caught slipping because you underestimate the fact that, you know, in your mind, you're a pro and this person isn't supposedly on your level. We forget that hunger is a factor, and we forget that bragging rights on a personal level is always motivation for everybody. So this is just one of those situations where those guys got caught slipping, and hopefully they won't put themselves in that position again, because this doesn't go away. This goes down as folklore, and everybody will be able to brag about this until they leave this place. That's how that goes.
All right. So I wanted to get this other question in before and the time is running. And so I'm gonna start that question up with Rodney Perry. You are gonna get this question, Rodney Perry. You're gonna be the first one with RP. My man Rodney Perry. Here we go. Aaron Rodgers or Peyton Manning in a game coming down to the wire. Aaron Rodgers has to deliver or Peyton Manning has to deliver. Who would you rather have as your QB and backup, and why?
I'm really considering this. Aaron Rodgers, top-notch QB, man, but he has failed us at the brightest moment, at the hottest stages. So I got to take Peyton Manning. You know, and Peyton Manning from time to time comes off a little special needs-ish to me, but he always
what
special needs-ish.
Okay, special needed. All right. So my question for you, Mike, Sean, is there people right now who's saying that Aaron Rodgers can get into the Hall of Fame, but he only has one Super Bowl under his belt. If he was to go in the Hall of Fame career was to end right now and everything else, could he be unanimous get in to be a Hall of Fame? Unanimous?
Absolutely. Like, I think he's won 3 MVPs. Like sometimes Super Bowls are dependent on defense, special teams. Like football is one of them things that, like, there's a whole bunch of things that are filling in everything. So if your defense is whack or whatever, like, Aaron Rodgers is a first ballot MVP. Like, first ballot. Like, there's no way. I don't care what he took. I don't care what drugs he took. I don't care what he was doing. He's a first ballot MVP. I don't even like him. First ballot MVP. There's no way you can challenge that.
All right, so T, I'm gonna give you a couple of seconds to think about this one. But what is the worst trade demand that you've heard in any sport by any player? You know, I mean, you know, right now everybody's talking about obviously Kevin Durant and all this everything else, but there've been a lot of trade demands in a lot of sports that people go, oh wow, like why you know what I mean? Like you go through some football, you go through some baseball, you go through some basketball, you know, you go through all the sports. But off the top of your head, which is the one that sits right there first and foremost, you know what, say, you know what, this has got to be the worst trade demand by this idiot.
This is gonna be funny.
Yeah, that really just makes me go, what? All right, so you get the
Why
first
you give
one.
me that question?
Well, didn't somebody just offer up 5 players for Durant? Did somebody damn near want to clean their team for Durant anytime? And I'll just go with my Knicks because we did it. You hear about it all the time. They're like, hell no, I'm not giving you these 4, 5 people for this one person. We ended up doing it. If nobody learned in the league from that big miscalculation going forward, I don't care how good you are. I don't care you're LeBron, you KD, whatever. You cannot clear the house for one player. It's a 5-on-5 game at all times.
Yeah. Now, Fig, I'm gonna ask you. It's worst trade demand. Doesn't mean that the trade actually happened. You ain't got to say the trade actually happened. But what is your worst trade demand in any sport that you heard people ask, and either it happened or not?
Listen, Danny Ainge just did it twice in the same year. Rudy Gobert for like 14 players and 10 draft picks. And he got away with that one. Then he tried to do it to the Knicks. He's like, I need 4 guys and 7 first-round draft picks. I'm like, are you out of your mind? Like, Like for Donovan Mitchell, you want 4 or 5 players and 7 draft picks for Donovan Mitchell? Like Donovan Mitchell's a great player, but 4 or 5 players and 7 first-round draft picks and your firstborn and stock in the New York Knicks organization. Have you lost your mind, Danny?
Okay.
Tell you, he took some hits when he was playing back there with the Celtics. He really did.
Okay. Amir, I know this is abrupt. I know this is quick. You guys don't have time to do this, but what is your word? You're on mute, Amir. What is your worst trade demand? Doesn't mean it necessarily happened. What is the worst trade demand? The one that stands up off you and it comes in your head.
The worst trade demand. That's a good question, Frank. Off the top of my head, I can't think of any. To be honest with you, I'm just being honest. But I just think that anytime I think a play, you know what? When Kawhi Leonard got in his feelings at San Antonio, whatever happened there, and he got in his feelings and he wanted out of there. And I only say that because at the time, Tim Duncan was on, his way out, or, was on his last leg, and they really needed somebody to shore up the Tim Duncan hole that they were going to have once he retired. And as we see, ever since Tim Duncan retired, the San Antonio Spurs haven't been the same. So I'd have to say allowing, to get away from that organization when he could have, obviously given them an opportunity to still maintain being one of the, premier teams in the league based off of Kawhi Leonard staying there.
Hey, you know what? I made a mistake.
I know you did. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I don't know how I forgot this. The worst trade demand has to go to Stevie franchise for demanding not to go to the team that drafted him.
That's a good one.
That's the worst trade demand. You ain't even got in the league yet.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Rodney Perry, you got your worst trade demand?
Nope.
Rodney Perry, I'm gonna give you one. I'm gonna give Rodney Perry one.
Hold on, Fig. Don't give him none. Hold on. Everybody go first. Michael Stein, you got your worst trade demand?
Yeah, like quiet as kept. Deshaun Watson, when he was with the Houston Texans, wanted to get traded for 2 Asian twins called Singpoo and Yahtzee, and that did. And they were like, "We can't do it." So it was impossible. It couldn't happen because they couldn't find Singpoo or Yahtzee. So
wow. I get that.
And and that's where all this thing stirred up into. So go ahead, go back to
Rodney. You know how to
Rodney.
explain to me, I get it.
Rodney, you got one now?
I mean, I didn't want to really. So I went to Verizon to get the iPhone 13 because I heard it had a better camera.
What?
And it turns out it has the exact same camera, and horrible trade, man.
Greg, what was the one you want to give him? Because I got one I want to say too.
I was gonna tell him Fat James out of Houston. When James Harden came to Houston, he looked like Charles Barkley.
On TNT.
I got one. I think my worst trade that I've ever seen. Well, I've seen a lot. I think about one of my worst trades I've seen was Randy Moss demanding to be traded from the Patriots and everything else, and they granted him his wish. And next thing you know, he got traded right out the league. So he thought he was gonna go in there with his big balls, like I'm getting that, get out of here. They're like, all right, we got you. And trade him right out the league.
In all seriousness, one of the worst trades was Charles Barkley to the Phoenix Suns for Hornacek and a bunch of other people.
Yeah, that was horrible too. That was horrible.
Yeah,
that's definitely horrible. All right, so since we got a little bit of time left, I'm gonna just, and I don't want to jump into these other questions. I'm gonna give you my 5 question. So T, you're gonna be named a commissioner of any league tomorrow. What league would you be, and what change would you make immediately? Let's give it down to 20 seconds because we only got a certain time.
I'll go head up the NHL, National Hockey League.
And what change would you make immediately?
First thing I do, I make it black. First thing I do, everybody white, turn in your papers. I'm sending some shuttle vans to the hood. I'm bringing some of these underprivileged kids in there and some hockey cleaner. And the NHL will now be the BHL. The Black Hockey.
You a fool. You a fool. Fig, my man Fig. You are
Talon said he wouldn't change the ice skates to the roller skates, and I swear to God, T.I. would be the best.
I would be true.
Hold on. First of all, y'all let me finish my slogan. The BHL, Black Hockey League, where my niggas at? Huh?
Or both. Black Hockey League with a tagline.
Fig, you are now the commissioner. What league would you do, and what change did you make immediately?
Well, Talon went down this road, so I'm going with him. I'm not going to be the commissioner. I'm going to be the deputy commissioner of the Black Hockey League. And the change that I'm going to make to make it real interesting, I'm going to make the hockey puck white. Go find this. Let me see you find this white hockey puck on this white ice. Now, that'll make the game interesting.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Since we off the rails, I'm gonna have Rodney Perry go for it. I know he's gonna do that. Rodney Perry, you are commissioner. What change you gonna make, and what league is gonna be?
In all seriousness, gentlemen, man, I've noticed some huge discrepancies in this league, and I would love to run it. I think I could help change it and get all the athletes just paid, man, and I think they deserve to be paid the professional league, PSL, Professional Strippers League, and I would take that. Nobody's advocating on behalf of the players, and I would have them focus on their strength and training and do what tricks on the ball.
Down in the valley where the girls get naked.
What would you do?
I would. You know what's so crazy? I would take over the auto racing thing. The auto, the whole auto racing thing.
Oh.
And then I would invite all of the cats who do illegal street racing. Come on in, y'all. Look, them drivers aren't ready for that because the illegal street racing and the fact that they done in the back areas of where stuff isn't supposed to be happening. Let them on in there. Let's see if those drivers can deal with those guys. Now we got a sport.
I like that.
Okay.
Hey, how about this? How about this, Amir? Can we combine our two sports?
Mike Sean, you become a commissioner, you become a league. What would you do?
I would take over the NBA, and it would be mandatory that everybody has to do 2 shots of Hennessy before they get on the court. Like, it would be mandatory that everybody has to do 2 shots of brown liquor. And I mean hefty shots. I'm not talking about them little girly shots. No offense to girls. But I'm talking about hefty coffee mug shots. Pow, pow, pow. And I promise you, Michael Jordan would have made that shot against the Utah Jazz if Byron Russell had 2 hefty double shots of Henny. I promise you, when Michael grabbed his ass, he would have grabbed his hand and be like, it would have been on and popping right now. That's what I would have done. That's what I would have done.
All right. So on that note, I'm getting up out of here. That's the show. See, tell everybody out of here. Tell everybody else what's going on tonight. I know you in Martha's Vineyard, man. How to follow you, all that.
Yes. If you got people out here this week, make sure you go online to the Martha's Vineyard Comedy Festival. Get tickets for Friday, Thursday. We added 2 matinee shows. Everything is sold out in the nighttime, and then Saturday. Myself, Sherry Shepard, Damon Williams going to be putting it down in the Grand Ballroom at the Hyatt. Martha's Vineyard Comedy Festival. Ooh.
I would love to do that. Fig.
Yo, man, you see your boy Comedian Fig, all social media platforms, man. I got a retirement party that I'm doing, man, on Saturday. It's going to be dope. It's going to be out in Long Island. It's going to be fire.
Okay. Amir, thank you for joining the show. Thank you for sitting in. For Dave the Bully, the business bully. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for that. Tell everybody how they can follow you, bro. I can't hear you, man.
Okay, he said,
So got me on Instagram on the bottom there, A-Rock Sealy, Amir Sealy on Twitter, Amir Sealy on Facebook. You know I love hanging out with you guys. This is always great.
Yeah, Rodney Perry, man.
Tampa, Florida this weekend. But I got to be honest, that gig out there, Tampa, is probably one of the best gigs in America.
Yeah, and it is. It is.
Tell Damon he can't bring y'all back next year.
Michael Sean.
I couldn't make it to Martha's Vineyard because I was busy, so I'm just having sex with this bitch named Samantha, and so sorry about that. So I'm at Samantha's house. I'm not at Martha's Vineyard. I'm at Samantha's house, and no, she's gorgeous. Like, and she's 43.
Samantha does have some wine over there, though.
No, she has wine, but she can't get pregnant. So it's gonna be there's not gonna be a vineyard or anything. It's just gonna be Samantha's house, and we're gonna chill. Sorry about that, Frank. I know you gotta edit. I apologize.
It's all right.
I've heard people say, bitch on TV.
Yeah.
So Samantha, yeah, I'm about to
But
get
you
a
can't
girl
say
pregnant.
you got to know how to say it. You can't say Samantha and bitch.
Oh yeah, Samantha. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Samantha ain't got a vineyard, but she got a. Samantha ain't got a vineyard, but she got a vegetable garden.
Everybody's doing a whole lot of blurting out and everything else on this show, so I'm gonna just end up to say, you know what?
Frank got mad. Frank got mad. Sorry,
we all will be here tomorrow. Frank ain't bad. Frank just tired of.
I mean, it was funny. It was funny. Everything that everybody said was funny. Like everybody.
This is true.
Tomorrow is Thursday.
This is true. This is very true. Hey, let's see if the button works today. We'll see y'all tomorrow.
Let's see if the button works.